There's a variety of reasons why you may want to replace an outlet. It could have paint on it that you don't want to scrub off, or the terminals on the inside could get loose and the plug would be loose in the outlet. Sometimes you have a two-prong outlet, but you want to plug a three-prong plug into it, and so it wouldn't have this bottom ground terminal. So you want to replace that with a three-prong outlet. It can be done easily and safely. Just make sure you turn the power off before you do it. Currently, this outlet is live, and it's working, but I'm going to go ahead and turn the power off at the breaker box and replace this outlet just to show you how to do it. In the breaker box, there's usually a list on the door that labels what each of the breakers go to. If you don't have a list like this, you may just have to go through trial and error and find out which one kills the power to that particular outlet. Mine is this one here. So I'm going to go back to the outlet and test it just to verify that the power is off before I start working on it. An easy way to test the outlet, to make sure the power is off, is just plug in a lamp. If the lamp doesn't come on, as long as you know that lamp is good, you test it in a live outlet, it comes on, and you test it in this outlet that we're killing the power to. If it doesn't come on, then you know the power is off to that outlet. So the first thing you'll need is a small flathead screwdriver. You can remove the cover plate. And these screws here, you'll use a Phillips head screwdriver. Just take those screws all the way out. There may be some small tabs on the back that keeps it from coming out of the outlet tab itself. That just keeps it from losing the screws, but they need to be screwed out completely out of the box, the outlet box. You can give a little tug on the outlet, and that'll stretch the wires some because they're usually folded up inside the box. You don't want to pull too hard because sometimes the wires may be cut short and there's not much room to pull those wires out of the box, so it's going to be tough if the wires are real short. But these wires are longer, so I've got room to work with the outlet. So this is the black wires are the hot wires. That's the hot side. The white wires are the neutral wires, and the bare wire is ground. So notice that the white wires are going to lighter colored screws, and the copper wire, the bare wire, is going to a green colored screw that represents ground. And on this side, the black wires, the hot wires, are going to a darker colored screw. You might be able to see it easier on this one. So I've got kind of a gold colored screw terminals and a silver colored screw terminals. So the darker wires go to the darker colored screw terminals, and the white wires go to the lighter colored screw terminals. That's just an easy way to help you remember which side goes to where. So the hot wires go to the gold terminals, and the neutral wires go to the silver terminals. The ground wire goes on to that green terminal there. So the first thing I'm going to do is loosen these two screws here. They won't come all the way out, but you can get them as loose as you can. You'll feel them stop as you're backing them out. See, there it stopped. You just gotta have to work it around that screw. flip this upside down so that I can get to those screws a little easier. I'm going to take the ground wire off. There, so the old outlet is off. I'm going to put the new outlet on. I'm going to start by attaching the ground terminal, the ground wire to the ground terminal. Notice when you're tightening up the screws, you're turning it clockwise. So you really want the wires to go around the screw clockwise. That way it tightens it kind of turns that loop in the same direction that you're turning the screw. If you put it on with the loop coming around the screw the opposite direction, as you tighten that screw up, it's going to actually undo that loop a little bit, and it tries to pull it off of that screw terminal. But if you keep that loop going in the same direction you're turning to tighten the screw up, then it tightens that wire onto the screw and kind of wraps it around the post of that screw a little better. So I'm going to start with putting the ground wire on the green screw. And you may find it helpful to use a pair of needle nose pliers to put that wire around that screw terminal. If this loop is opened up too wide, it won't fit inside these tabs here. So you may have to close that loop just a little bit, or open it up if it's already closed down too tight. You want that to be good and snug. You definitely don't want any loose screw contact with the wire, because as it wiggles through movement of the house or just movement of people walking across the floor, that loose connection could cause a spark, and that's what causes fires occasionally. So make sure those screws are good and tight. But you can see that the wire is underneath the tab on both sides. Now I'm going to put the white wires on the same side as the ground terminal. So it's the lighter colored screws. These are the neutral wires. It doesn't matter which one of these wires you put on which screw. They're both tied together down there. Okay, those are on good and tight. And in commercial applications, you'll see the ground plug is pointing up toward the ceiling, but a lot of residential installations put the ground plug toward the bottom. I prefer it to be toward the bottom, like that, and it makes it easier to install it. So I'm going to put the hot wires on the darker colored screw terminals. Again, it doesn't matter which of those wires goes on which screw there. We'll get those good and tight. Okay, so now all 5 of those wires are connected. So the screw is connected to the outlet with a small cardboard tab. You can kind of see it on the old outlet. There's a little piece of cardboard or a small piece of metal right there that just holds the screw in place to keep you from losing the screw. But these screws go into the holes in the box. It's attached to the wall there. So I got the bottom screw is going to go there, and the top screw is going to go right there. So you kind of have to fold those wires up into the box and bend them a little bit just so that the outlet roughly stays in place. And then line the screws up with the holes. I like to get one started and then start the next one before I tighten them both down. You can also see that the hole in the outlet is more of an oval shape where the screw goes through there. That allows you to kind of cant the outlet one way or the other to make sure it's straight in the box. You want it straight up and down. So I'll put the screw in the center of that oval slot on the top and the bottom. That way I know it's in there straight. And just tighten it up to where it presses these tabs up against the wall surface. So the outlet is in. If these tabs dip behind the drywall for some reason, or whatever your surface is, then the cover plate is not going to sit flush. So right now the cover plate sits flush right through here, but if you let those tabs, if you tighten them up too tight and bend the tabs or push them up into the box, or if the drywall is cut too large and the tabs go further back than the surface of the wall, then whenever you put the cover plate on, it's going to be further out than the surface of the outlet, and it's not going to look right. Now you put the small screw in the center. With a small flathead screwdriver, just tighten that back up. Now I'm going to turn the outlet power back on, back at the panel box, and we'll test it, make sure everything works. And our lamp works. So it works. The top one, bottom one works. So you'll notice on a lot of plugs, there's a wider tab and then a more narrow tab, and then also on the outlet itself there's a wider slot and a more narrow slot. So the wider slot is what's connecting to your white wire, your neutral wire, and the narrow slot is on the hot wire. So that's to keep you from plugging the outlet or the lamp in upside down or crossing the wires. So you don't want to plug in the hot wire into the neutral side and the neutral side into the hot side. So they're polarized so that you plug them in correctly. If they're both the same width, each of the prongs, then it's not polarized and it doesn't matter which way you put it in. But with this particular one, it has a wide side and a narrow side, so it goes in one way. And that's how you replace an electrical outlet.